This is ESV Diamond here with my buddy Tom, goes by more than Tom. And we're going to do a patch breakdown for the Heroes Technical Alpha Notes, June 25th, 2014. For simplicity's sakes, we're going to call this the Zagara patch. It's the patch where Zagara is now in the game. We're not going to go over her too much because there's no info about her talents, exact numbers. It'd be a lot of guesswork. She seems cool, but you gotta see what the hell she can do, more or
We need
less.
to get our hands on her.
Yeah.
Wish the
So,
servers would come back up.
yep. So servers should be up soon, but until then, we're breaking down some notes. We'll go through all the important stuff. We're not going to do things like bugs or UI updates or anything. Not important enough. We're going to do things that actually affect the game, and that starts at the battlegrounds. Blackheart's Bay had the treasure chest. Oh, so they're referencing a note that's later. We're gonna start because I think personally this is the biggest note, and it affects things throughout the entire, which is in general, heroes general. All heroes now have flat attack speeds that no longer scale with level. Basic attack damage has been adjusted for all heroes so that their damage output will remain the same as they were in previous versions of the game. Many talents, abilities, and mechanics that were affected by faster attack speeds have been updated in order to account for the absence of scaling. All heroes and talents have read. Oh, that's different. So, anyways, this attack speed change I personally thought was the biggest change in the entire patch, aside
Yeah,
from the
how
Murphy
much?
stuff.
How much is it?
There's no numbers, and it's a very frustrating patch note right now because it doesn't. It's so big, but it doesn't tell you. Was it what champs were level 1 pre patch? Was it are they all getting a attack speed buff? Like,
Is it somewhere in the middle to
right.
compensate for it?
My concern is that maybe if they make the flat attack speed too slow on a lot of champs, you take away a lot of playmaking abilities. Like, for example, a good Vala player pre-patch could do some really amazing kiting late game, especially with 10 stacks of her passive.
Hmm.
And it was not something that every single player could do. So I really hope that it's fast enough where you can still see kiting be effective. Or not be effective, but not just slow. Not anybody can do it effectively. So that the good players can separate out. What do you think about that?
I'd have to see how it feels because I definitely felt like um, some of the attack speeds just felt like super slow. Like trying to, I mean, there's no less hitting or anything, but trying to orb walk and stuff correctly was weird
Yeah.
at times. And then you'd eventually hit like the sweet spot somewhere like, mid game, early mid game, and then after that, your attack speed would be so high. The only way to get use of it would be to just stand still
Yeah.
because it would take too long to move. You'd be wasting a bunch of attacks.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to affect champions in particular, and I'll go into it later, but Illidan, I think, might be one. Actually, no, it's a good place going in now. Um, I think Illidan has potential, or characters like him, to get a big buff of this. And it depends how the numbers are. I'm assuming your attack speed is not like what max attack speed right off the bat. That is going to be
Mm.
slower than it is now overall. So that means you have to land for a character like Illidan, since it's supposedly going to balance out to be even, less attacks overall to do the same amount of damage. And I don't think Illidan's great or anything. I think he does a lackluster amount of damage, but it could be an indirect buff in that way, I think, is for a lot of the melee champs that have problems um, really with needing to get 110 attacks off to do anything.
I I kind of felt like the main problem with melees was either they had survivability but absolutely zero damage, or they had damage and absolutely zero survivability. Like there's no like middle ground of like a like a bruiser or like a real fighter. It's like in Illidan's case, he's a real prime example where he's paper thin. Like
Right.
he just gets annihilated, and having less attack speed means his abilities are going to come up less. Well, actually, I can't. It's hard to say because we don't even see
Yeah,
what
it
it's
could
like. Like
be
thinking
like
late. late game, it seems like it's a nerf to Illidan because uh, having the cooldown reduction on his passive is pretty nice, but it's like the early stages where he's weak and super paper thin, not a whole bunch of survivability. He's gonna be even like more fragile.
Yeah, that's very possible. I'm sort of frustrated they didn't put more context with this. It's one thing I sent, like I put a message on Twitter. Oh, I'm excited to read the patch notes before because I saw they were quite lengthy, so I knew it was going to take a minute. And they said, "What do you think about it?" I said, "Some more context would be nice." It's something Riot's been doing a lot recently with their patch notes, is providing context on why they're making each change and a lot of information up front. Like, I really wish there's an example, say, any champion. They said, this is what it is before, this is what it is now, this is how it works out the same. I think that'd be, would eliminate a lot of this confusion, especially since you can't click on a character and see their stats or anything.
Oh
So,
yeah, that drives me nuts. There's so much
so
information that you wanna see more of, so you can actually start drawing meaningful relationships and correlations between the stuff, like
yep,
the language of stats and the damages and the things that they do, and it's just not there.
yep.
It's
All
a whole
right.
bunch of guesswork.
Sorry, we went over that pretty well. We can go back to Battlegrounds now that we have the big change. Or the major one. And again, this is all depending on numbers. Like, it could be really not a big deal overall. It could be a really minor change that only affects a few characters, but without numbers, without that context, it's just up in the air. So Blackheart's Bay, the treasure chest health has been increased to account for, that's like a bug fix. Skeleton camp respawn time increased to 150 seconds. I like that. I feel like skeleton camps
Yeah.
are always up.
There's I feel like there's a lot of times there's just like an overabundance of coins where maybe it's part of the map, just like if a team's losing, they're just probably giving up a bunch of coins.
Hmm.
But there's times where like a team will chain like 3 or 4 of them, like back to back, and it's like there's not really much chance for the losing team to really do much once they get behind, because
Right.
the other team's going to have map control, and you're dead. There's death timers, so it allows them to just clear out everything and just turn it in, rinse and repeat.
Yep. So I'm glad for that change. I could see them even going higher yet. Um, because one complete clear of all 4 camps is definitely a lot longer than 150 seconds. So you could theoretically just do a circle over and over if you had map control. I mean, that's mostly bad players, but it just promotes a very selfish play style. I see a lot of Gazlowe players uh, refuse to do anything but farm the skeleton camps. And sure, we get a bunch of barrages, but we lose the whole rest of the map. And it sort of promotes it when they're basically always up. When you can do like 2, go to do a third, and the first camp's almost back.
I think it also frees up time to do all the other stuff, the other objectives.
Right. Dragonshire, player controlled Dragonite duration now increased by 2 seconds for each minute of the lapsed game time. That seems pretty big. I
Dude,
thought
that's
Dragonite was in a
huge.
great. I didn't think Dragonite necessarily needed a buff, although it did late game in particular, like 30 minutes plus, it just got obliterated right away.
Yeah.
But
By 15 minutes, it's another like 30
I guess
seconds.
I
I
guess
think like
that
a minute and a half with Dragon Knight at 15 minutes seems that's pretty formidable, man. Especially if you can get people to come in,
I
if
guess
you
this
can rotate faster.
right. I guess this makes a lot of sense because now that I think about it, almost any time I see a Dragonite die, it's almost always from the health and not the timer. It's very rare that I find Dragonites dying from timing out.
Unless
Uh,
there's Lily.
yeah, unless there's like a bunch of heals, Brightwing, Lily, something like that. Unless there's some weird combo like that, almost all the time is the health that disappears first and not timer. So maybe they're trying to line it up where those are sort of in sync with each other. Or I gotta imagine they always want the timer to be a little higher eventually
hmm
to promote you actually not just
There's,
face tanking absolutely everything.
yeah, there's got to be time to recover and like reset. So they're seeming to be against this early, like snowbally type of style that is just I think it's just like the nature of MOBA games.
Right.
It seems like they're definitely trying to put the kibosh on that.
Fair enough. I like Dragonshire, so I think that's a positive change. It doesn't change anything about the survivability of Dragon Knight, so that's sort of good. Uh, you can still just focus on Dragon Knight late game. Mercs, which I thought needed. This is a section that was very needed at the current moment. Merc camps now scale. Oh, go ahead.
Did they not scale at all before? Did they scale up to
I
a
don't.
lesser?
I don't
Like,
understand if they scaled before. I don't think they did because man, you could just obliterate them late game. It took like 5 seconds
Yeah.
to take a night camp. So if they scaled, they only scaled for a small amount of time, maybe. But maybe they did. I don't think they did at all. So now they scale up to 30 minutes of game time, and once you capture them, they can scale for up to 60 minutes. Wow, that'd be a long game of Heroes.
yeah.
So that's cool. Merc camps were too easy to take mid to late game. I mean, I was as support like Brightwing and Lily and stuff. I was just soloing easy and hard camps. I mean, obviously not boss camps, but I could even start a boss camp and like, uh, really hold it off for a good 30 plus seconds before I needed my team to help me. So that's probably a good thing that they changed that.
Yeah. It makes it more meaningful.
Grave Golem. Now, apparently, this is interesting because I'm not 100% sure what the value was before. And when I talk about context, this would have been another good one.
Yeah.
Captured mercenary grave golems are now roughly equivalent in strength to a 30 skull grave golem on the Haunted Mines. Well, that's good and well, but what were they before? My guess is less, but you know what? I've never really sat there and like directly compared. What's the 30 skull compared to this,
Yeah. What's it feel like?
So,
I'd have to play with it for a while to see.
I feel like the wording of it makes it feel like a buff, but who knows?
They also changed the AI a little bit. I kind of like that.
That's good changes. They'll now seek out structures. It was really easy to stall a golem forever.
Yeah, because now once that thing pops, that's immediate pressure. It's not like, oh well, that's it'll get there eventually, or you have like a creep wave or two that's like a buffer.
Yep, I agree.
It's straight for your town, so that's kind of nice.
Piece number.
Oh, they nerfed knights.
Yes, they made some major changes on knights, which I think were needed. Once people figured out what that aura does, like holy crap.
Yeah.
That changed knights radically in the game.
Oh, I didn't know it was a damage aura as well.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it was plus 25% damage in the aura. And so if
I thought that was just the range of where they'd cast the shield.
No, that was the aura, 25% damage. So if you team fought in that aura, you basically just instantly won a team fight. There's almost no way to win a team fight under that thing. So this gives I don't think that was their intentions at all for Knights or any Merc camp. I don't think Merc camps are designed to really change team fights. They're designed to apply pressure on the map. At least that's what I believe.
Christ, that would be OP as hell. I wish I would have known that.
Yep. They no longer shield other knights. I do wonder if that's both as you're capturing them. Yeah, it would have to be as you're capturing them and both. So that's cool because it was really annoying people that would focus the large knights and subsequently waste a whole bunch of damage on shields.
Yep.
It wasn't intuitive at all either. Like shields don't have a big cast animation, so it took me like 50 games before I figured that out. But now the knight heals other knights and surrounding minions, so it's still a super push thing. It's just changed to be less abusive in team fights. Now I don't know how much the heal is. I gotta imagine it's quite high. And one thing I like about this is this has potential for play with promote in particular and Tassadar shielding minions.
Oh, you also got buffed for that.
Yep. One thing I noticed when I took promote every time is just forts and turrets were so strong, and since there was no heal, that the wave just died right at the first turret line or fort or whatever. And it really, promote never felt impactful. With if you roll in promote on some, excuse me, melee minions or even crossbow ones, and they got the heal from the knights, that could be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Sea
That's what
giants. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say. The melees are what like extends the push basically. Like the bigger and beefier and more of those you can have, the more threatening that push is going to be because it's going to take so long to get through all that stuff while
Mm-hmm.
while all the range guys are just going to town.
Yep. Siege giants got changed. Defending siege giant attacks can no longer be dodged. Siege giant attack damage has been reduced from 100 to 80 in order to compensate for its change. So my guess, again, where context would be nice, it says defending siege giant attacks. I see that as one of two things. One, it means they're like defending when you start attacking them and are attempting to capture them, and they're still neutral. Or it means the melee, like they throw rocks at you normally.
Right.
But they also, if you get close, they have melee attack where they hit you with the cannon. And I'm not sure which one of those two. Or that could be
I don't.
that.
It's got to be the rocks that they throw.
I gotta
I
imagine
think
it's too
that's what
easy to
this
do
is.
them. Once people figured out how to do that, that mechanic had to go. I believe. Taking them like at level 3 with supports and stuff, taking
No,
0
yeah.
damage.
Exactly.
You can't have that. Anybody became a jungler around those guys. So I like that change. How about you?
Yeah. It makes you have to. There's more cost benefit stuff going on instead of hey look I can totally get free damage off these and create lane pressure for taking 0 damage. You're
Mm-hmm.
just out of lane for a little bit.
All right,
Makes that
talent.
stuff gonna like hurt more.
Talents now. Anything else on that one?
No.
Okay. Talents. Berserk. Attack speed bonus reduced from 50 to 40% to compensate for changes to the hero attack speeds. I'm going to sort of put that under the bug fix, basically, category. Demolitionist, same thing. First aid. Healing amount increased from 20% over 4 seconds, 35% over 6 seconds, and I still think I'm never going to pick that. You?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I still wouldn't. I feel like there's always better choices for that slot.
Yep, I agree. I took it once and I regretted that decision the entire game. Minion Killer now also deals 25% additional damage to summons. That's probably something that, I mean, it's even though they're different, it still makes sense.
What?
Oh, actually, I would almost say it's a bug fix. It probably was supposed to deal damage to summons.
Probably.
So, yeah, not a big deal.
It's like smiting a Tibbers, man.
Yeah, that's not. You're not going to see that come into play too often. Especially since there appears to still not be custom games enabled. So, Regeneration Master, health regeneration increased from 3 to 4 per stack. Again, I am under the impression I'm still never going to pick that.
Yeah.
Unless I guess if I expected some really long laning phase, which, why would that happen ever?
I mean, you don't necessarily have to lane. You just need to run in, snipe the wizard, and take the globe.
Yeah, but that's still, I mean, I don't see a lot of scenarios where that makes a lot of sense. That you'll get enough that it'll pay off for what you lose at level 1 with all those champions that have it.
Yeah. I never liked it. I don't think that's going to be enough. It's an interesting concept, but I just never feel like I'm going to get enough health regen to make it meaningful.
Yep.
Like, I would much rather have, like, health on hit or lifesteal or, something that augments one of my other damaging or one of my other abilities. That seems like a lot better use of a talent.
I agree. Searing attacks. Mana cost reduced from 20 to 15 per basic attack. I'm cool with that. Yeah. It was a little bit steep as is, and it allows some champs that don't have huge mana pools to take it more regularly.
Like when I would play Kerrigan, I would one of the builds I would do had that, and if you jumped on somebody, you like only had one, like a full combo and maybe another Q.
Okay.
Like if you're using that and actually getting the hits off, your mana goes away pretty quick.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I never really took it very often because I was just like, wow, it's just too much mana. I might look at taking that now on certain champs, particularly when ahead, but possibly in different scenarios. All right, we've talked about the attack speed thing.
Mhm.
Abathur. Rename
Name
skill. Abathur is now vulnerable during the casting time. I was wondering about that. I wonder
Yep.
if that was intentional. Now, that's not the big bug fix. I'm going to go down a little bit. Well, actually, let's see. Graphic is indicated where Avatar will reappear when it expires. Not a big deal. I don't believe. Most Avatars don't leave the base that often. In particular, there's a bug fix here with Abathur, and it's the only bug fix that really matters, I think, for competitive stuff, or we should go over. Where basically he would be invulnerable when. Okay, Abathur will no longer become untargetable upon casting Symbiote on an allied hero. That was so annoying.
Does he just go out and be like Manor Abathur in the middle of the lane?
Yeah, Banner Abathur, I like that. Yeah. So I'm so glad they fixed that. There was a lot of Abathurs abusing that bug, or particular abusing that most people didn't know about the bug and would try and focus and lose a lot of time in attacks and spells trying to kill the invincible, untargetable Abathur. So,
Mm-hmm.
even those bug fixes, I think it's a nerf to bad Abathurs. And good Abathurs won't care because they don't get caught out ever.
Yep. Exactly.
The big one here in the next Brightwing, I was sad, sort of, when I saw this. Phase shift, you know I agree 100% with that. That I was
Yeah.
saying that needed to happen in particular.
Yep.
20 to 30 seconds. There was almost no, um, there was almost no way you could screw up a phase shift before. Now there's a little bit possible more punishment if you screw up a phase shift, and you teleport somewhere that ends up not needing you, and you just have to go back. Before you would teleport where they didn't need you. You go, oh darn. You'd recall,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 seconds later, your teleport would be back up. Now, Blink Heal
Yeah.
got gutted.
Honestly, I kind of the thing that I want to check about this is because remember how we were trying to see if if you had healing regenerative rains, how if it would proc when you were blink healing and it
This
wasn't.
is exactly what I was thinking, too, just for the record.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this means that's gonna proc now, because if that's true, that's I would consider that a buff because the base heal really wasn't that stellar on it. It was more for the heal over time thing, and I don't think it it just overwrote. It didn't like stack, right?
I think it just overrode. I don't think anything stacks in this game, unless
Yeah,
it specifically says it stacks.
if I blink healed or blink, yeah, if I blink to you,
Right.
you're not gonna get healed for like 600 twice. You're just
Well,
gonna
what
whatever
in
the tick time
particular
was.
was real potentially abusive with Blink Heal and what's lost here, and it's probably a good thing. I actually am. I'm Brightwing main, like that is the most games I have, and I agree with these. I think there's some number changes that probably got to happen. Maybe not, but in particular, you could in 10 seconds blink to each member of your team twice, get twice the main heals, but then get all the huge over time, and you could potentially heal a whole team just off your blink heal and regenerative rain, and your passive. So now it's going to be a lot more focusing on one or two people, and I'm cool
Or
with
just
that.
for mobility.
Yeah, and it's gonna make Brightwing felt like almost an AOE healer there when I would play her well, uh, and I don't think that's what it doesn't seem to be what she's focused on. It seems to be focused on dealing with single targets predominantly.
Well, it went from like a one-time giant massive AOE heal to
Mhm.
a sustained type of thing, because it's once every 8 seconds you get a charge, as opposed to you can use it 10 times within 10 seconds.
Yeah,
but
I
only for once every 70 or 80 seconds.
I like that aspect of it a lot, and that's why I really like it. I do wonder if 2 charges is too low, but 3 does seem pretty high as well, like without the upgrade. Like if it was 3 at level 10. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to try this change. I think it's a lot more interesting overall.
Yeah, I like it. I know that it's like raw numbers. It's definitely less, but I think the way it's changed is going to be more just better.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Overall, it's going to be a better
And
change.
now there's actually, I didn't really find a lot of, I guess cool thing, or one good thing about this change is Blink Heal was absurdly strong whether or not you upgraded the level 20 talent. And
Hmm.
now there will be a real loss of power for not upgrading talent and taking like Storm Shield or something. Um, because that third charge should be pretty big late game.
Yeah, Storm Shield is pretty good though.
It is good. I like it. I'm all hyped on Storm Shield and on Brightwing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. ETC attack speed bonus reduced 25-20. I think that's for the attack speed changes.
Yep.
So we'll just go past that. Falstad, fly away. Flight cooldown reduction reduced from 20 to 15. I'm with that. It did feel too long.
Oh, that's only if you get the trait. That's
Right,
a.
right. But I meant upgraded. Sorry, I should have specified.
I think yeah. It's. I mean, it's it's better, obviously. It's. I think that just might be. I don't know. I'd have to see.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know if
sometimes
you
because I
actually really
upgraded
would
it.
have to be jumping around that like that quickly, but I mean, if it's there, why not?
It could be really interesting in more spread out maps like Dragonshire. In particular, being able to jump to one bottom or top tower and real quickly get back to mid.
Hmm.
So, um, let's see. Thunderstorm. Active and passive damage gain per level reduced from 12 to 10. Whatever. That doesn't seem that major to me. You?
No, not really.
He
It's
does a lot of damage regardless.
yes, he does.
Um, Barrel roll, movement speed bonus with the upgraded talent afterburner reduced from 175. 100 was pretty fast, man. 75 is
Yeah, dude,
still really
he
fast.
zips around.
Yeah, I mean, he's still gonna fly around like crazy. 75% is one of the largest move speed buffs in the game. But you know what? I think I gotta imagine this is to bring it in line with sprint, so you can spec sprint to catch him after a barrel roll
Hmm.
to sort of hold with him.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
see what you mean.
probably what that is because I mean at 75+% it doesn't matter. You're just going so fast. The only thing that will catch you is somebody with sprint.
Or stitches.
Yeah, or stitches. The flyaway talent, I'm hearing the flyaway talent was nerfed. It now only reduces the time between flights by 15 seconds instead of 20. Huh?
Oh, I see what it means.
What does it
So
mean?
instead of the cooldown reduction being 20, so take 20 off of your flight time, you take 15 off the flight time.
Oh, okay.
It's not being reduced to.
Okay, we misunderstood that. All right, this is why it's good to have a chat around.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Okay, well, never mind. Everything I said, I guess they thought he was too mobile. It did seem like he could be everywhere, but I thought they could have knocked a couple more seconds off it personally. For Dragonshire in particular. And then Aerial Blitzkrieg,
Tribute. Yeah.
Blitzkrieg, blah, 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 blah. Cooldown reduced from 110 to 100 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds, not huge.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, that's the one. Most people take the other one, right?
The what's that?
Don't most people take the other upgrade for Falstad? Or is
Oh
that
yeah,
the?
the Luxol. I
Yeah, the
forget what it's
Luxalt.
called.
Hold on, I'm gonna bring his. I'm pulling up the wiki right now. I gotta look it up. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I honestly
shock and
feel
awe.
that.
That's right. Shock and awe.
Yeah, that's my preferred way to play them with
Yeah.
rewind and the empower thing.
Okay,
jump in and yeah.
real quick, an update for everybody waiting for the game to come up. They just put an update out 4 minutes ago that says, while I don't have an ETA to share with you at the moment, rest assured we're still working under the hood to get the new patch and Zagara into your hands ASAP. So, perfect time to be doing this. Um, so, I mean, I guess they're trying to make Aerial Blitzkrieg more competitive with Shock and Awe. Let's see, cooldown. Shock and Awe is still lower cooldown, so weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does a lot more damage, but it doesn't have any utility that the Blitzkrieg does. But I I feel being able to basically come out of nowhere and double Q, double W, and drop your ult it's so much damage up front, especially when all that stuff's empowered. You can nuke somebody off the map really really quickly.
Yep. So next is Illidan, who got a whole bunch of changes and one actual gameplay change. Illidan fans are probably pretty, when they first scrolled down, pretty happy, like, oh my god, all kinds of changes, it's going to be awesome. And then they read them and realized they just renamed a ton of talents. It's awesome.
You're describing me about 3 hours ago, man.
Yep.
I was all sorts of excited, and then
That
it's
was
just
the
like,
biggest
oh, you got
tease
a little
ever.
bit of damage scaling. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ah.
So I got to imagine the attack scaling is just to offset the new attack speed, so Illidan remains Illidan. Whoops, I accidentally hit the wrong button. Hold on. All right, Kerrigan. Shocker, her shield got nerfed. Nobody saw that coming.
Yep.
Zerglings are less Zerglings, but they're faster. Oh, that's fine with me.
I never get that talent, to be honest.
I have not personally. I've only got it one time, and I didn't find it super impactful. But I've had a lot of Kerrigans upgrade that against me, and I very rarely found it to do anything but be annoying.
I need to pull up. I'm trying to remember what else is in that tier for her, because I feel there's something else. I looked at that. I'm like, oh, why would I not get this other thing? Let me see. Heroes, Kerrigan. Sorry, my cat's being annoying.
That's fine.
Oh, there's a wiki for this, isn't there?
Yeah. This Heroes of the Storm wiki. You'll find it.
Why would I go to the game's main website to find this information and not find it?
Shocking concept. We're just looking something up real quick.
Yeah, that's the same tier that has battle momentum and searing attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would much rather have one of those two over
I gotta imagine if you're trying.
Zerglings.
I gotta imagine if you're trying to do some sort of jungle shenanigans or jungle heavy Kerrigan play. And more like competitive organized play. I doubt it'll happen, but that would be the use for it. But who knows? So probably not a big deal with the Zergling talent. Her ult duration reduced to 9 seconds. I think that's appropriate. Her Maelstrom ult in particular.
She's pretty strong as long as you can hit your skill shots. She's
Yeah.
really really strong, man.
Yep, I agree.
The shield nerf, I'm glad about the shield nerf because she, if a Kerrigan ever got ahead, man, she felt like she was just unkillable.
Yep, I agree. So I wouldn't be surprised to see further hit on her shield later down the road. I got a feeling people are just going to adjust, and in a couple weeks she'll just be absurd as she is before the patch. Because she gets shield from both, so that's just my personal thing on it. I don't know. So I think everything Kerrigan was pretty in line here, and it more or less expected, except for a Zergling thing.
Well, just think about it this way: Kerrigan is now like 50% less durable.
Yep.
That
is pretty big.
Quite sizable, man.
Yeah, but I mean, she still has 9 seconds on her Maelstrom ult. I'm surprised they didn't do more things to make Ultralisk a little more appealing.
It's not bad. If you put
It's
that
not.
on a squishy target, it sticks on them, man. It's annoying. It's pretty annoying.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's just very. It doesn't feel like it's that often the right call over Maelstrom. Maelstrom is just potential to turn you into a walking god for 6 seconds or whatever the shield is.
But the thing is now with the shield being reduced, you have to jump into a lot of them to make it really worthwhile, and you're jumping into a lot of them with being half as durable as you used to be. I think it might be a little bit more suicidal. Or maybe it requires you to have like more support or someone putting
Maybe
shields or
maybe
heals or
they're
something
thinking
on.
more counterplay. They're sort of using a little bit of Riot philosophy here.
Yeah,
Knowing that when she goes in, you gotta get her when she goes. Of course, not get your whole team caught up by her pull, but more importantly, you have a moment where you can get at her, but you can't let the shield keep growing, or it'll keep just out damage or out healing you more or less, out shielding you. I don't know. That is a pretty big numbers change, but we'll have to see. I think she was out of line quite a bit
oh
before.
yeah,
I know
she's definitely pretty strong, man.
almost everyone that claims that is quote unquote pro at this game claimed she was the number one pick all around.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I'd put Tychus up there too.
Yeah. Um, so off to the next one, Lily. No
Oh,
shocker here.
get hit with the Nerf bat, man.
hmm So her trait, her movement speed reduced to 15%. I think
Good.
that's good. It was too high before. You just never could get caught. Increase on Q mana, but not a lot. With Passive Wizard, she still won't run out of mana. The mana restoration scaling's removed, and this is a common theme through almost everything they're doing here. Uh, I'm sort of interested they went that way. It seems to me her problem is her ability, especially come level 10 and beyond, to heal several thousand damage in just a couple seconds flat. Her
Yeah,
insane burst heal.
the mana was to me like the healing is undoubtedly strong. I'm like okay with that, but she's an basically like an infinite mana battery as well from Q and Jug of 1,000 Cups.
Yeah, that's true.
Your whole team could just keep the like. Not only will they get healed to full, all their mana, all their kill potential, and everything goes right back up. And the team that just if they did just defend it, like they unless they have a Lily, which I don't think you'd be like in competitive play, there wouldn't be two of the same champ on.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like whoever's got that mana heal would be just siege forever. You just lean on them until the other team literally can't sustain it because they just can't use their stuff anymore.
Yeah. They did some work with Cloud Surfing. I think it's more to update for the new attack speed thing. It's still only personally I'm only ever mainly going to use it to heal or to clear pirates chests faster. Blinding Wind has a lower cooldown. That's fine. It felt a little bit high to me personally. I think that's sort of a cool. If you're going to buffer at least in one way, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree, man.
Okay, and then Jug of 1,000 Cups, higher cooldown, lower healing, no mana restoration scale. 2 thumbs up for me. I don't know about you.
Yep. Oh yeah, I knew that was coming.
So I know it's a major change, guys, but Lily needs some change. So we're not going to spend a million years just repeating ourselves that she needed to be nerfed. So Malfurion. Now Malfurion's one interesting one for me because he's the one champion I feel like I'm missing something about. And the reason is, like, I almost always hear top, quote unquote, and I use this very loosely, top tier players say Malfurion's the best support, and I just have never really found my rhythm or vibe with him, and I never felt he was strongest support. I felt in last patch both Lily and Brightwing, more Brightwing than Lily, but both of them provided more than he did. Although he does have the silence ult, which is brutal.
I was gonna say the silence.
I understand the power of the silence ult, but I felt a lot like an ulti bot. Root and ulti and some weird heals. I know you get mana too, but So Malfurion got some work on him. Regrowth. Now casting it, you can talent it that returns 100% of the mana cost. I don't really think this is sort of going in line with their new push thing, but I don't think you're going to be healing minions a lot enough to
Yeah.
where you'll take that talent in particular. And
It's like,
Mercs, sure,
yeah.
but do you want a talent really early, especially since they just reduced the ability to take Mercs early level? Um, so I don't think you're going to see that talent get used that often, but I could be wrong. Like I said, Malfurion's the one I feel maybe I understand. I'm missing something about him, so could be off base. And then Life Seed has. I thought that was already a talent. It says new talent. Wasn't that already a talent?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So, new talent. I'm pulling up his wiki right now. Nearby damaged heroes now automatically gain regross heal over time effect. This effect has a 15-second cooldown. That's sort of weird. Seems like the cooldown's really high. I wonder what the AoE radius of it.
I mean, isn't the heal on regrowth is pretty decent, isn't it? Even though it's over time.
Oh yeah, it's a good portion of it actually. Um, but it's at a level. Shrink Ray is always interesting, and so is Ice Block. But I could see getting Life Seed. Full Moonfire is good too, but I might have to try that. That could be actually pretty decent.
I really haven't spent that much time on Malfurion. I've played
Yeah.
against him a bunch, and all I can say is his heal is seems okay. Although basically being able to AOE regrowth, like smart healing, that seems like it might be kind of annoying. But the only main note of him was the silence. I've been boned so many times by that.
Yeah, that is nasty. I am not. Hold on, I gotta look at how Moonfire has been changed. Lunar Shower stacks now decay. Oh, that's the talent. That's right. At 1 per second after the 8-second cooldown spider rather than all at once. That's cool. I like that. I never take that talent anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. I don't even know what that one is.
It's where you can use Moonfire, and every time you hit it, it stacks and reduces the cooldown on the successive one. So, I don't think a big deal there. I gotta imagine most competitive players will use Hindering Moonfire or Rewind at that level.
Oh, good old Moonfire spam.
Yep. Entangling Roots, new talent. I gotta pull this up, and a lot of these are the same talent, just redid. Entangling Roots, new talent, level 7. That is new. Doubles the damage dealt by Entangling Roots. I don't really cast Entangling Roots for damage, do you?
Nope.
I guess if you're trying to do offensive Malfurion, Moonfire spam and Roots, maybe. But I don't think you should.
Whenever I see like these plus damage on these like a non really damage dealing people, I view it like, is that supposed to be more for pushing or like jungling? And it seems like it's more for damaging minions and stuff than it is for necessarily trying to kill someone. Because I'm not picking Malfurion because I want to go, solo Vala or something like that.
Right. I feel like Malfurion in particular, his Entangling Roots are a large part of his kit because it allows you to easily set up AoE picks. It's really, in Cursed Hollows in particular, it's very strong at cutting off and setting up tribute fights. So I guess maybe some people want more oomph with it. I don't care about the damage. I care about the root.
Yeah, most definitely.
And then new talent level 16, Tenacious Roots. Increases Entangling Roots area of effect and duration by 25%. Enemies caught in the area of effect are rooted for an additional 0.5 seconds. That is the same level as Lunar Shower, Hindering Moonfire, and Rewind. I think that will be a talent that will be worth trying out for sure.
Yeah.
I think that seems really good. The
Although,
question is, by level 16, will you need it, or will the game, I don't know.
You could slow with hitting the Hindering Moonfire. You slow them, that could pretty much sets up your the root thing.
I guess if you have a team, and you'll see this especially in competitive play, where they're bringing, like, say that you have a Lily, so you know there's a slow to set it up, maybe, where you just need to hit the root and you know you guys can kill somebody. So, I think that's cool, though. I think it's a good talent, and it's pretty hard to get talents that are worth picking at that level because they're normally so strong. So there's a lot of them that are sort of, and normally an overwhelming choice at level 16, so that'll put some good variety.
Yeah, I can see that.
Moradin Stormbolt, projectile speed increased from 17 to 20. I am cool with that because the amount of times I've accidentally dodged that is really, really high as a defender.
Yeah, Meriden needs a little bit of love.
I
He felt
agree.
really boring to play and really ineffective. You're just this giant minion.
Yeah, you really are. I've never been so bored playing a champ in this game as Moradin. His Grand Slam talent has been removed. Range increased by 40% on his ult that you'll never take. And now it can store up the charges with the level 20 talent, and you're still never going to take that. At least I don't believe so. I don't think Haymaker is hidden OP. I don't know about what do you think?
I mean, it's Lee Sin kick, man.
Yeah, it's Lee Sin kick, but you're not. I don't know. I'm not sold on Haymaker. So maybe it's OP, and did not have fun playing Mord, and I don't really want to waste my time experimenting with him
I
until
guess
he becomes
maybe
more interesting to play. Personally,
I feel like you'd almost have to use it like get the. I think there's a range extending talent for his jump. You could almost use it like Tristana. You know, you rocket jump behind him and then shoot him out with your ult.
yeah, that would
You
be
just
something. I agree. His jump feels really lackluster as is.
It's so short and it's so clunky.
I feel like you're just tripping forward a step.
But I mean, we are talking about a dwarf and its inability to jump, so maybe
Yeah,
that
I
has
know,
something to do
but
with it.
actually, Blade Mage for my chat brought up an interesting point. The talents they added this patch seem to be more of, oh hey, this is situationally good, but there's also a situationally good talent, and in his opinion, a good change. I agree. They're adding more variety. They want. I gotta imagine they don't want people taking the same talents every single time, and I see a lot of people do that.
Yeah, they went through that whole phase with. I remember in Warcraft when I played and raided in Burning Crusade, they had a lot of issues with stacking people or certain classes in raids, where it got to a point where if you were in like a serious raiding guild, it's like, well, you're this and this. You want to play this class, this spec? No, no way. We need to stack like 4 or 5 rogues and a bunch of like a. We have like your survival hunter and like your bajillion druids for all your innervates and stuff, and the coming expansions, they really water that all down so like anyone and everyone could do stuff.
Right.
So having the one elite comp.
Yep. Here's a big one. Murky. Alright, so Murky is now revealed. And his current location is pinged on the minimap for 10 seconds following the death of his egg. Killing Murky now awards 25% of the normal experience amount earned by killing another hero, which is weird because I swear that was how it worked beforehand. Killing Murky's egg now awards 50% of the normal experience earned for killing a hero. So killing both Murky and the egg will award you 75% of a total kill. Right off the bat, the egg change is big. They're trying to make it worth hunting the egg because I was never
totally
hunting the
is,
egg.
anyways.
Yeah.
They
So
just didn't incentivize it for people.
yep, and also I like that it pings the minimap for him too. I find that very interesting. That's sort of cool. They're basically taking over certain smart pings for you, and they know everybody would be pinging them anyway. So I really like that. That's a little quality of life, if you will. Save from 4 people pinging them at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's a little bit too noob friendly.
a little bit, but I think it's interesting and can reduce a lot of ping spam. Because I know every time an egg went down and somebody noticed, or the team in general noticed, like it was a big event, everybody started pinging like idiots. and like 40 pings would go down in 3 seconds flat on Murky. So they probably saw that in their games too.
He's
And
got that
went,
global taunt passive, man.
yep. So now they're gonna make the global taunt legit, but they're gonna do it for you. So hopefully reduce ping spam. Also for newer players too. That'll be good for new players that don't understand Murky and how he works to know, hey, this is the time you need to get him. Slime duration reduced to 6 seconds. Damage over time increased to 7. He has a new talent for Slime, which increases basic attack damage against targets affected by Slime by 50%. Level 16 talent, Master of Slime, increases Slime duration by 2 seconds. Slime now deals increased damage on reapplication. It looks like they're trying to make a more damage-oriented team fight Murky viable, which I've seen some Murkies do pretty well in team fights. I gotta imagine not at a competitive level, but in a solo queue setting.
This whole like list of changes, when I was reading it, it seems like they want to put the kibosh on the Murky that you never see him. He never contributes anything to any kind of team fight or any objectives on the map, except he's just going to sit there and throw those goddamn pufferfish at your forts. And that's all he does. That's all he will do, unless you find the egg. And then he'll just, he's going to come back and do the same thing. It's just going to take him another 30 to 40 seconds.
Yep. So that's cool. I'm good with all this. I like putting more damage on the slime. A good Murky that pays attention to what's slimed and not can make the most of it. I don't know if it's going to be like a viable thing, but pufferfish, the delay is reduced, but the damage has been
I'm
changed.
predicting it right now. You're still going to see every Murky player playing exactly how they were before, and they're going to wonder why the enemy team's going to get fed to all hell because now he's given up a bajillion experience.
Very possibly. It could be more Murky's hiding out of experience range and suiciding out of experience range, but I don't know. I definitely think Murky's a lot weaker with this patch. And I gotta imagine they aren't totally, they're probably thinking, yeah, we're gonna have to go back and do further work on him. But this will provide a relief to the headache in the meantime. Because Murky, before this patch, was just unfun to play against. And I think they're trying to incentivize, like you said, team fighting with Murky and put some ability to do so. So they're taking it, they're sort of...
That's kind of the thing, though. That's like, I feel like Murky's were kind of like forced to do that, not because that's the only way to play him, but that was honestly the most effective way to play him, was just sit there and
absolutely.
just backdoor with pufferfish, because if he did try to team fight, you die in two or three auto attacks from Tyrande, and then like, okay, well, how are you supposed to stay alive to do anything once your bubble's done?
Yep. And also, speaking of, Surrender, I believe, is the bubble, right?
Safety bubble is.
Oh, what is Surrender?
Is that a talent?
Oh, okay, it is a new talent for Bubble Breeze. Excuse me. I knew I was trying to. I had a point there. Now, when he uses Surrender, his new talent, he'll gain 20% increased move speed on his Bubble Breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Where are all these? Okay. For the entire duration. So it'll allow him to get in position a lot more. And actively move around team fights, I think.
Say that again?
Hold on, maybe I'm reading this wrong. I'm looking at the talent Surrender. Or the option Surrender? Is that what it says for me? Maybe it's... Hold on 1 second. There is nothing he has. It's called... Okay, I had patch notes from earlier in the day. They had safety bubble labeled as Surrender. And I was so confused about...
Okay, I thought that sounded vaguely familiar, because I remember
No,
reading that.
I refreshed it, and now it's safety bubble. So, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. I was so confused about what was happening. Because I'm looking at skills, and I'm like, this doesn't match up at all. So anyway, safety bubble. He has a new talent for it, Bubble Breeze. Or no, it's not new. It's been moved from level 13 to level 1, I see. I don't know how you spec Murky because he's the one champion I never played, so I don't know if any of his other level 1 talents will be too important to give up.
There's Demolitionist, Toxic Ooze, which increases slime duration by 2. Slime, increase slime area by
Yeah.
30, and then bribe.
Yeah, so I got imagine it's going to be competitive with the slime. And I don't know, maybe Murky can turn to this backline suicide bomber, and that will be a talent.
Isn't
I,
what?
I don't know, though, with Merc. I just haven't played
Yeah,
him.
I don't know what his role's gonna. If he's still gonna try to like backdoor you like all the time, or is he gonna spec more for actually like fighting? Because if he's doing like the style of Murky we've seen so far, Demolitionist sounds like amazing. 'Cause
Hmm.
that's all you do is sit there and kill structures.
Yep. I got
I don't know.
imagine they're trying to make a team fight option viable, in particular with his buffed Octo Grab and all
Yeah.
this. Reducing it to 30 seconds, and in the flip side, upping the March and the Murlocs cooldown to 100 seconds, along with some other stuff. Actually, let's read through these real quick. Octograb cooldown reduced from 45 to 30 seconds. If Murky is killed while using Octograb, his stun effect will now persist through the ability's full duration, but will not continue to damage the target. Marchant Murlocs, 20 more seconds on the cooldown. The slow per stack is reduced from 15 to 10%. The max slow amount is reduced to 70%, thank God. Murloc movement speed decreased by 25%, thank God. And the casting width has been increased, but the number of Murlocs have spawned is unchanged. It seems obvious they're trying to make Octograb actually usable.
I was gonna say, have you ever seen that? I've
No,
never seen that.
I've literally never seen Octograb ever. No clue what it even looks. I don't even know what
Yeah, I
the
don't even know what it
graphic
looks
for
like.
it is. So maybe this will make it viable for Murkies. I'm not going to buy Murky anytime soon, so I'm not going to be the Octo Grab pioneer here.
Yeah,
Um, I am glad March and Murlocs in particular, the slow change from max 90% to 70%.
that
Uh,
seems nice. But the only time I ever really see that used is to just mow down a fort.
right.
And it seems like when you try to like sit there and body block at those little Murlocs from hitting your forts, like I'm like, oh my god, if this was like unleashed in a team fight, that'd be pretty strong.
I gotta imagine that's also part of why they're doing this. They're trying to make Murky more team fight oriented, and they need to make sure March and Murlocs just doesn't break team fights. I'm surprised you don't see it that often. So I played with one Murky in particular that used March and Murlocs very well in team fights, and it just like ended the team fight before it ever started. Everybody was 90% slow, taking a million damage per second.
Yeah, it's like a giant rumble ult that
Yeah.
just
So
it sticks on you. You can't get off it. It's like,
yep.
ugh.
Yeah, so I gotta imagine that's all the goals with Murky. I really wish they provide an insight article, but yeah, I guess it really said they want slime to be more viable and more damage routes. So maybe this will make him viable. I think it's gonna put him in a bad spot until people figure out somebody good figures out how to play him again. Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
I
he's gonna go back to the drawing board because I
yeah
guarantee you,
yeah
you're gonna see all these people. They're gonna feed like mad, and they're gonna try to do that nothing but backdoor style and just feed the enemy team. And then I think you're gonna see him go away because like any noob could pick up that thing, hit E and then throw a couple pufferfish and die.
mm-hmm
Now it's like that. That is not gonna. That's gonna be so heavily punished, man. It's
yep
gonna be kind of funny.
yep. So overall, I'm glad that the Murky changes. I don't know if they're enough. His style still exists as Suicide Bomber, but now it has a actual weakness that can be exposed. But the weakness is still making the game a 4v4. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Um, I was very happy with the Witch Doctor change because I remember a conversation with you I had not too long ago where I said Zombie Wall takes just a tiny bit too long.
Yes.
Tiny,
Yes.
tiny, tiny bit, I said. And I saw this with 0.1 second change. It's probably all it actually needed. I know it's pretty minor, guys,
Maybe
but
one more, but I'll
yeah.
take it. I'm happy. I like Witch Doctor, and I like the change on that. It just like you were saying, man. It just felt like just too long to actually make it a meaningful catch unless you were like on top of somebody.
Yep, I
You had
agree.
to like almost like, all right, I'm gonna put it here. I hope you walk into it. You can
Yep,
totally not if you don't want to. I mean, that's cool too, but it's gonna be here.
I agree. Rainer got a change as well. Attack speed and attack damage bonus have been reduced from 20 to 15
Yes.
on his Inspire passive. I think that's more in line with the auto attack changes.
Yep. That's
Uh,
just shoring up some numbers.
Sergeant Hammer, the thrusters movement speed bonus increased from 50 to 60, and ambush talent basic bonus to basic attack damage increased from 50 to 100. I really liked ambush's talent if that's the one I think it is.
That's the. I
Um,
think that's the one when you siege up, you cloak, and
yes, I'm gonna
and your next
verify
one does
real
extra
quick
damage.
here just to make sure because I was about to say. Uh, yep. So I was already using that quite often when I played Hammer, and now it'll make it even more awesome. So I'm cool with the ambush change. I think thrusters could actually stand to go for another second or two of a duration.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Oh.
in particular, using it to try and get to a battle from platform
Oh,
when you
I
respawn.
hardly ever use it. Like, I mean, coming out of the fountain, yeah, I'll use it, but I
That in
use that.
particular.
I always make sure that I'm gonna have that up once we start fighting, because that's your one saving grace. That's the one thing that you can do for yourself. Because I mean, the knockback thing you have, yeah, that's all well and good, but that doesn't stop people from just running back up to you
Yep.
or using some kind of gap closer again. Because after that, you're boned. There's just nothing you can do.
So I'm cool with both those changes. Hammer, I feel is a strong champion, but there's just things that could be touched up about her, and those both seem like good changes.
Yeah.
Sonya has a new level 1 talent, War Paint. Basic attacks now heal Sonya for 25% of damage dealt. Um, Ancient Spear has had its damage increased. It has a new talent that reduces its cooldown by 5 seconds when you land it. Seismic Slam has the Strength from Earth talent. Let me pull that up real quick and see which one that is. Has been removed. New talent at level 13, Aftershock. Uh, Hold on one second. Pulling up this. Okay. After casting Seismic Slam, the next slam within 2 seconds costs 50% less fury. That looks interesting.
Oh yeah.
Which one did they remove? Strength from Earth, which I'll read that off so people know which one that is. Once I find it, that is.
I don't see it. Oh
Okay,
wait,
maybe.
it's the W. It's the one that Seismic Slam gives you lifesteal.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, that lifesteal is pretty crazy on that. That's probably fair. But I'll just finish reading this in the meantime. Whirlwind has had its fury cost reduced from 25 to 20. Damage gained per level increased from 3 to 4. A new talent at level 13 for it. Creates tornadoes that do part of Whirlwind's ability damage. 1 tornado per second. Damage that tornadoes don't stack, and they do not generate fury. A new talent at level 16, Enduring Whirlwind, that doubles Whirlwind's duration. Um, I'm still going to max Seismic Slam all day.
Oh yeah, buddy.
I'm not
I
that.
feel
I'm
you on
still
that
not
one.
going to use Whirlwind. I only use Whirlwind when I want to heal, and there's nobody around. So,
Uh,
especially since Strength from Earth has been removed. You'll actually, I guess maybe that's the big difference is you'll have to
it's
use Whirlwind to heal more, but
yeah, that's the thing that I missed to the or I kind of liked when you put all your points in the Seismic Slam. You ran up. Your damage was your survive. Like the one thing you needed to do was just sit there and spam Seismic Slam, and that's how you healed, and that's how you got through the fights.
yeah,
Now it's like having to whirlwind because there's no heal on Seismic Slam, and that level that War Paint talent's only for basic attacks.
yeah.
Like uh, more damages, yes, but less
I
survivability.
didn't really think Sonya needed a lot of changes, to be honest. I didn't think she was in that great of a spot to start with, and none of these seem to be super duper buffing her in any way. It's just rearranging a lot of stuff and in nerfing Seismic Slam directly. Pretty good at that. So, although her Q damage does a lot more. I don't know, like, I just feel like putting more power into the Whirlwind heal and removing strength from Earth now that I'm looking at it all. Uh, I didn't think she was super strong champion. I thought you actually had to play her decently well to do well. I didn't think she needed. I think this is overall nerfs, but maybe that Q damage is more than I think.
It's per level from 9 to 4.
Yeah,
That's pretty sizable, man.
that is sizable. So maybe more damage on this ancient spear now is the idea. I'll have to try it. I
It's like
thought
a
Sonya was
60%, like 55 to 60% increase, like overall the entire time.
yeah. Okay, these might be all in line. I haven't played enough Sonya really to know. And I haven't seen many good Sonyas either. Only a few. And Whirlwind felt really lackluster before.
Yeah, I felt like the talents to do anything with it were like too far later on into the game. Like you wanted to put points into your other stuff, and
Right.
see the first one you get isn't until tier 5.
Mm-hmm.
Increases the radius, so I guess you could do that. But I really like the range on the spear.
True.
So, I don't know. And then
All right.
the next tier is the whirlwind slow. That's tier 6. That's like level what, 18.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll be going out of my way to pick Sonya in this upcoming patch, to say the least.
I might try her. Her burst damage is going to be better because she can get more seismic slams off quickly
Right.
if you get that talent. But like I said, the survivability I feel is down a little bit.
Yeah, you'll be more reliant on support, I guess. Tassadar got all kinds of changes.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll go through this. We're not gonna go through this all at once. We'll do it part by part. His Oracle passive, new talent at level 4 to reduce the cooldown by 10 seconds. I thought that was pretty cool. I felt like that was something that definitely. It felt weird that you couldn't reduce the cooldown on Oracle. It seemed like a perfect candidate for it to me previously.
Hmm.
And it rewards good play, constantly using it to scan the right things. Um, Plasma Shield got a new talent at level 1. Increases the shield amount by 50% and no longer expires when cast on minions and mercs. New talent level 4, Leeching Plasma. While Plasma Shield is active, the target's basic attacks return 20% of damage dealt as health. And new talent at level 16, Evasive Shielding. Plasma Shield's target gains 25% increased movement speed for 4 seconds. I really like the level 4 talent.
Oh, dude, yeah, no contest. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah,
That's hands down the best one.
that's huge. So it finally gives Tassadar some ability to hang on with more sustained supports like Malfurion, Lily, Brightwing. He felt really Tassadar felt like a strong pick, but not. He didn't feel good versus supports with strong heals.
I felt like he was more of like the damagey type support. I felt like his damage was better than the other ones, but his, you know, the way he heals, if you want to call it that, was not as. It was more. It's single target. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep. I agree. So I think the plasma shield change is really cool. They're all interesting. The level 1 talent's really cool. If you're doing some sort of push comp, I think Tassadar is going to be a very strong consideration now in competitive play in particular, because you can just shield the heck out of minions and make them take a lot of turret shots to take down and run turrets out of ammo and blah blah blah. So combined with like Gazlo or something could be really strong.
Illidan Tassadar.
Yeah, exactly.
Illidan Tassadar.
Now the big change. Time Warp and his supporting talents have been removed. A new W, Psionic Storm. Long range ability which deals damage to enemies in the targeted area. It's got a talent at level 1 that increases its damage by 20%. Level 4, it returns 5 mana for each target initially hit by Psionic Storm. Again, we don't know how big Psionic Storm is, so that won't be hard to tell. A talent at level 7, they're marked with a static charge, and basic attacks against the marked target consume the charge and deal additional damage. Lux passive.
Yep. Yep.
Level 16, after casting the storm, the next storm within 3 seconds is free. Wow, I wonder what the cooldown on that is. Damage does not stack when multiple Psionic Storms are cast on. Sounds like it's a low cooldown spell. Uh, Level 16, enemies are now slowed when hit by a Psionic Storm. So this is really hard because we don't have damage numbers or anything about it. So sounds like a low cooldown spell. I thought Time Warp was fine, but it did make Tastar feel like he did no damage, unless your alt was on.
Also, Tastar's a High Templar, man. You can't have a High
Yeah.
Templar without
Yeah, I
Psionic
know.
Storm. It just what the fuck?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Oh, you know what? Blade Mage brings up an interesting point. When they're talking about the Psionic Storm thing, it might be, but that's the same level as Rewind, I believe.
16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it
Or-
can't be
wait,
something
wait,
with
wait, wait,
Rewind.
you said level 16?
Yeah.
No, that's not. 16's tier 5,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
18 is tier 6 and 20 is
Yes.
tier 7.
Okay, so maybe it is something with Rewind.
That's
Uh,
all right. Well, that's
I'm
not
curious what
good.
the cooldown is on it now.
Yeah,
That's
me
my
too.
biggest question. Because it seems like they wouldn't make a talent based that you have to take another talent for it to ever become relevant. Like Second Strike, if it had a longer than 3 second cooldown, it's never going to be relevant without Rewind. So that would be interesting. I've never seen them necessarily in this game do anything directly like that.
Well,
Um,
Zeratul's, there's a talent you can get for his little bomb thing that he throws.
mhm.
Same thing. You can cast it twice just before it goes on cooldown. That's all.
Yeah, but it doesn't have one of those talents for Psionic Storm. I wonder if it stacks charges like it's an ammo system. Um,
No, it's just you cast it, and then for 3 seconds you can just cast it again.
oh,
And
I
then-
see what. I
then
see
it-
what you're saying.
And then
Yep,
it
yep,
goes on cooldown.
yep. You're right. Okay, you're absolutely right. So okay, it could be interesting. We'll have to wait and see once we get some real info on it. Void Shift, his E has been renamed Dimensional Shift. Whatever. Increased duration by 50%. I will probably not take that a whole lot because most of the time the quick duration is one of the big selling points. I can get out just enough and then come warp back into existence, get my spells off, and still walk away afterwards. I guess maybe if they're CCing you real hard. I don't see myself upgrading that a lot. Twilight Messiah has been renamed Archon, which needed to happen.
As it should be.
Yep. This cooldown is reduced to 100 seconds. Shield amount reduced 10. Not a big deal. Basic splash. I thought this was interesting.
Yes.
Radius increased 1 to 2. His talent's renamed Twilight Archon. And then for his other alt, Force Wall, Force Gate talent has been removed. New talent level 20 increases range by 50% and increases duration by 1 second. Cool. I don't think the Twilight Archon changes aside for splash are a big deal. The cooldown reduction's nice. Puts it more in line with Force Wall.
I told you that level 20 upgrade on that thing was just stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no like. How do you know? Like it's like, hey, you turn 20 unless you're typing it as you're turning 20. So you're in a fight, like you skill it up, you pop it down. There's like no way for them to know. It's just, oh, can I walk through this one? Can I not walk through this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to play a new Tassadar. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree. I am liking this.
I really like what they did with the Oracle. I can't the talent. Even though it won't be the best choice in all games, I'm gonna be using that a lot. Because vision is power. And it also makes it makes Tassadar an even further counter to Murky. For when it comes to competitive and draft play. And then, so we'll move on to Tychus real quick. Basic attack damage scaling reduced. It's probably in line with the attack speed stuff, but it probably will make him less overwhelming. I felt once
Just
Tychus had you a
more
little
nerves.
bit. Yeah,
More nerves.
I think he needed it. Tyrael. Movement speed no longer slow during your death passive. Tyrael's death timer is no longer reduced for each hero hit by Archangel's Wrath. I think the second part makes sense because it wasn't really an intuitive mechanic to start with.
I didn't even know it did that.
Yeah, I
had
knew
no
it did
idea.
that, but even knowing I did that, I would forget almost every time I did it. And then movement speed is no longer slowed. Archangel's Wrath, that's fine because that was dumb. Everybody just run away from you and never did anything. So, cool material. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally I find him really underwhelming and just kind of there.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't
Like,
die very often, too, which is weird because his whole passive is on dying, but he's shockingly durable.
yeah, it's like he's supposed to be a tank, but he's got all like he just got escapes and speed up slows. He doesn't die, but when he dies, he has the Cogmaw passive, and it's like
Right.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't do a whole bunch of damage either.
No, it's really lackluster, I feel. The champion as a whole. Vala, however, has had some interesting stuff. Her Rancor talent has been removed, or reworked, which I like the changes they did. Before, previously, when you got 10 stacks of Hatred, would give you 10% attack speed. Now it's going to give you 2% for every two. Or wait, it was.
Yeah, it's now 2% per hatred stack.
Yeah, Um, so now it just scales up. It's not all or nothing. So that would make it more attack speed as well because you can get up 10 stacks. So now I'm going 20%, but that's probably with the attack speed changes to bring it in line there. Punishment talent, hatred stack generation for ability cast from 1 to 2. Cool with that personally. Talent level 13, hot pursuit. Increases the movement speed bonus granted at 10 stacks from 10 to 20%. And then talent level 13, tempered by discipline. Increases max stacks from 10 to 20. For each stack above 10, your basic attacks heal you for 5% of damage. Stacks above 10 do not gain movement speed or attack damage. And above 10, synchronize with attack speed granted by Rancor. So,
That's going to be strong.
yeah, I feel that's a pretty significant buff to Vala. She's going to heal really, really well now. Before, one thing I felt about Vala is you almost needed a dedicated healer for her. Like, she needed somebody following her around, just healing her, give her mana, this, that. Now she'll be a little more self-reliant. Also, she'll ramp up better because it won't be that 10 or nothing for that Rancor talent, which is what I generally always take.
I just thought about something with that. Sorry to do this, but to go back to Tassadar.
Yeah.
The shield thing that gives you plasma shield, your target, you get 20% lifesteal. Is that on the same tier as the lingering shield? No. So basically, you could have that lingering shield thing and toss it on like a Vala or your 80 carry or whatever you want to call them, and that thing's gonna like stay there indefinitely until it gets hit off.
Yeah, I think Tassadar is a lot more interesting. I think his shields, in particular, is actually an interesting spell now. I'd agree with there on both counts. Somebody, by the way, real quick asked, any idea on how long the maintenance will be? Nope, we're waiting with you guys. We want to play as bad as you guys too. So, as soon as it comes Zagara time, I was hoping it'd be up hours ago, personally. I thought it would. Hungering Arrow, search radius decreased from 4 to 3. It was pretty far before.
Yeah.
Siphoning Arrow, oh, that's cool because that talent I thought was so interesting. But it was the same level as something important. Hold on, I'm pulling her up right now. I think, let me make sure I'm right on this statement. Demon Hunter.
Oh,
Yeah, Siphoning Arrow was so interesting to me, but I'm almost always going to get Vampiric Assault or Manticore. Like, I would never not get one of those. So, also, there's only 2 talents at level 1, which is weird.
Yeah.
New talent level 1, cost-effective materials. So now there's 4 actually at level 1. Reduces Hungering the Arrows cost from 60 to 30 mana. I guess that's if you don't have a dedicated healer that's giving you mana. You can try that. I'll probably still always go Rancor or Siphoning Arrow, but almost always Rancor. Multi-shot Arsenal's talent has been moved from level 7 to level 4. And new talent at level 1. Wow, another new talent level 1.
Mhm.
5 her. Nice. Composite arrows increases range by 20%. Vault repeating arrow talent has been moved from 13 to 7. So they're just they're trying to give her a power spike earlier, I feel like, overall here.
Yeah.
Vala felt in particular more so than any champion to have the latest power spike. Like I felt it was very noticeable how
Mhm.
long it took. And now it should be a lot smoother.
Yeah,
And a lot
I
more
agree.
variety. Cool.
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much